Come on, man. Step on the black line. Face the camera. Say a full name.
Thank you, Officer Johnson. Ms. Is it Schlüssel?
Schlossel. Good morning, Your Honor.
You're here on Crumsey. Okay, let me see. I don't see a Crumsey on the docket for this morning.
Do you know if he's going to be this afternoon?
I have no idea, and I won't know that until about 2:30.
All right, so should I get on at 2:30?
Yes, you can zoom back in at 2:30.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who do I have there at the DDC?
Al Hassan Ayash, Your Honor.
Thank you.
That's all I'm here for, Judge.
All right, thank you. All right, this is case number 230-569-4801, People of the State of Michigan versus Al Hassan Ayash. I've got Mr. Kuja and Ms. Posigian. Are you here on this one? Okay, thank you.
Yes, I am.
Okay, counsel, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. Anna Posigian, P75788, on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jamil Kuja, P71963, appearing on behalf of Al Hassan Ayash. And we'd waive reading.
All right, the court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. I will hear arguments as to bond.
Your Honor, I would reiterate everything that's contained in the investigator's report. I would note for the court, though, that the defendant was on bond at the time he committed this offense. He was on bond for felonious assault, felony firearm case that was that stemmed from a road rage incident. This case is novel. The suspect, though, is charged with involuntary manslaughter. So he's facing 15 years in prison if he's convicted as charged. The people would be asking for a high cash bond, be asking for $500,000. We'd also be asking for a GPS tether with home confinement.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kuja, you're muted.
Yes, sorry about that, Judge. You know, I understand he was out on bond for a case. I think he had a personal bond in that case. And I just note that when this happened, he's at work. He is by no means involving himself in any criminal activity. He's at work performing his job. And what their theory is for this involuntary manslaughter, I've never seen this before, but their theory is to hold him responsible, criminally responsible for the intentional crime that's committed by somebody else who he does not know. He's I think 21 years old. He's working at a gas station as a clerk, and there's a dispute with a customer who doesn't want to pay for his items, so he locks the door. And their theory is that, well, this man said he's going to start shooting people. Mr. Ayash opens the door. I understand that people didn't react quickly enough because the other person pulls out a gun and starts shooting people instantaneously. But he calls the police and he locks the door so the thief can still be there when the police arrive. He's a young man. He panics in the situation. I'm not sure, that's been tested before, that they're going to hold one individual criminally responsible for the intentional act of another. So I'd ask the court to really consider setting a personal bond with a tether, because it's really not fair, while he's presumed innocent, to hold him in custody while the people test out a legal theory that's never been done before. I'd ask that he be released. There's really no concern that he reappear in court. He's not a flight risk. He doesn't have a passport. He's never even left the country, Your Honor. He hasn't even left the state in like 10 years. He works. He lives in Hamtramck with his parents and his younger siblings. He was working at the gas station to help provide for his family. They don't own the gas station. He was just working there as a clerk to help provide for his family. And again, he was doing his job. Did he panic and maybe react inappropriately, in a way? Maybe, but that's the best that they can argue here. And again, the criminal act, the intentional act, is committed by another person. All he was doing was he called the police and was trying to get that man to wait for the police. That's all he was doing. He's not a danger to anybody, Your Honor. He wasn't armed with any weapons. I'd ask the court to seriously consider a personal bond, if not, to consider a $25,000 10% bond with a tether.
May I briefly reply, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
With regard to the facts of the case, I didn't want to get into those too specifically, but yes, the defendant locked the thief and then shooter in the gas station, but he also locked in three innocent three innocent bystanders, who over the course of almost 8 minutes in an increasingly hostile environment were begging and pleading and screaming to get out of there. They offered to pay for the defendants or the shooters. I think it was an iced tea and donuts. They were doing everything they possibly could. And the clerk unlocked the door about 15 seconds before the shooting happened. So it's not that the door was unlocked for a long period of time. People were pulling, kicking, trying everything they could to get out of there. And they were stuck in there because of the defendant.
But again, Judge, the gun wasn't produced. It's not like he saw a gun and still kept the door locked.
Well, here's what concerns me. I mean, according to this investigator's report and according to a video that was reviewed in writing up the investigator's report, it wasn't just the locking of the door. It was a participation in escalation of this situation and then locking the door while people were begging to be let out and not unlocking that door. I mean, so to me, the concerning thing is what's turned into, somebody getting away with what, $5 worth of goods, I don't know, has now turned into a homicide. Because, I mean, I won't go into the details of the investigator's report either, but I will tell you what I'm reading is a participation in escalating this situation and then a refusal to unlock the door when people were asking him to do so. Now, I understand your argument, counsel. He didn't shoot anybody. And he was, making bad decisions in the moment, and people do that. Officer Johnson, do I have a sheet? That's what you're giving me?
Judge.
All right, thank you.
If I could just say one thing, for bond, the purpose of bond is to protect the community and to ensure his reappearance in court. We're not, arguing what the appropriate punishment is if he is guilty.
And that's why what I'm reading in terms of participating in escalating a situation that escalated to violence concerns me. That's why that part is concerning to me, because I do have to consider community safety. I don't think there's a flight risk here. He's got family in the community. He's got a job. I don't think he's a flight risk. Will his bad decisions continue to endanger people? I don't know. I don't know. Frankly, I could remand him given the fact that he's already on bond, but I'm not going to do that because I don't think this rises to that level. But I am going to impose a cash bond, and I am going to impose a tether here. I'll hear any other argument you wish to put on the record, but there will be a cash bond in this case. Okay,
Judge, in terms of how high the cash bond should be, like I stated, he's working in basically a minimum wage job at a gas station. His family doesn't have much assets, right? He lives in Hamtramck with his parents, his two parents, I think four younger siblings. He's retained counsel. He maintains his innocence. And like I said, the theory to prosecute this man is to say he is criminally responsible for the intentional act of another man who, unbeknownst to him, had a weapon in his pocket and pulled it out and fired it. That's an intentional act by somebody else. He calls the police. He sits there. He cooperates with the police. He helps identify the shooter. His assistance to the police is what led to the arrest of the shooter. I mean, this man couldn't be any further from a danger to the community. I get his judgment ended up putting people in danger that day. But to say if he's released, he's likely to again endanger others, I think is quite a stretch, Your Honor. It's pretty unlikely. He's not working at that gas station anymore. I wouldn't oppose any condition of, not being employed as a cashier. But Judge, just, I understand the court wants to set a cash bond. The presumption is still a personal bond, even in a manslaughter case. the presumption under the court rules is a personal bond unless the court finds that a personal bond is not likely to ensure the safety of the community and his reappearance in court. And if not, then set the minimal conditions that would assure that. So I think if the court wants to set a cash bond, I think a $25,000 10% bond with a tether is more than enough to ensure the safety of the community and his return to court.
Okay. Have you had an opportunity to read this investigator's report? You've not, have you? If I'm referencing it, I want to make sure that you know why.
Yeah,
So,
no, I don't have it, Judge.
okay, all right. I know they don't get provided to you guys often, so I just want to make sure. So, I mean, as I said, my concern is, according to this investigator's report and according to the video that was reviewed in preparing it, the first person that references a possible shooting is the person in front of me. That concerns me. It
Well, I don't
concerns
know
me
that
that they're saying they're taking that statement directly from a video that they reviewed. That's a concern, because
Judge, will tell
I
you
don't
this.
know, because if somebody is saying that and then locking numerous people in an environment and not letting them out, and then it escalates in the way that it did, I can't hear that and find that there's no role in what happened. So I'm going to set
It wouldn't
bond.
be the first time I get a video from the police and their investigator's report doesn't line up with the video that they then produce later. It's a one-sided document that's being prepared by the very folks who want to prosecute him after they saw his cooperation, right? After they saw his cooperation, got it, and then after the issue blew up in the media, then they went back and treated him as a defendant. That's what took place. This happened over, I think, about 2 weeks ago. After they got his cooperation, once the case received media attention, now we went back, we're going to treat this man as a defendant. He didn't have any weapons, so I don't know how they're referencing that he said he was going to shoot somebody. He wasn't armed. And he didn't know the other person was armed. He didn't know the other person. He called the police himself and wanted that man there until the police arrived. They've been robbed over and over again at that gas station.
All right. He will have the benefit of a bond redetermination hearing. That hearing will be set for, is it Monday, Madam Clerk? Tuesday. All right. The bond redetermination hearing will be set for Tuesday, May the 23rd, in front of Judge McConico. All right. At this time, because what I am reading does indicate to me a participation in the escalation, and that represents a danger to the community. Bond is set $200,000 cash, no surety. If he's able to make that bond, he must be fitted with a GPS tether with full home confinement.
Judge, you're not giving a 10% or a surety?
I'm making this $200,000 cash. The bond redetermination hearing will be May the 23rd in front of Judge McConico, and he can certainly reduce the bond at that time, given your arguments if he sees fit. And perhaps you've had a chance to see the video by that time, and you can certainly speak to how accurate the reflection is in this investigator's report. But at this time, $200,000 cash. I do take investigators' reports with a grain of salt. I'm always particularly interested in the objective evidence that's mentioned in the investigator's report versus just someone's statements. This is a line-by-line timeline of statements made according to a video that was reviewed of this incident. So perhaps you'll have a chance to review it by that time. And if it's inaccurate, certainly that would have affected my bond decision. And I will tell you that right now on the record. So $200,000 cash, no surety, bond redetermination hearing, May 23rd in front of Judge McConico, June 2nd for probable cause conference, June 9th for preliminary examination. That one's set for 1:45 p.m. These are going to be in front of Judge King.
Thank you. Could I ask Ms. Pasigian if she can provide me an email with the investigator's report and the video now that he's been arraigned?
I'll give you a call tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, can I get those court dates again?
Yes, May 23rd for the redetermination, June 2nd for probable cause, June 9th for preliminary examination. Thank you.
All right, Ron, our other top story here at 5, the gas station clerk who police say automatically locked a door moments before a man opened fire on customers inside that store has now been charged.
22-year-old Al Hassan Ayash faces felony charge of involuntary manslaughter surrounding a dispute allegedly over just $4 worth of merchandise. Sean Lay is live tonight with this story. Sean, there are a lot of questions that still surround this case.
Absolutely, Kimberly. Here's the deal. First and foremost, the gas station remains closed. The city found that it was operating without a license after the shooting. Now, here's a picture of Gregory Kelly on the gas station door here. He was one of 3 men trapped inside the shop. He was shot and killed. The other 2 customers with him were also shot. They survived. The clerk was able to lock this door, trapping those men inside with a gunman. Now, he was in court today. His attorney says, yes, he used poor judgment, but he should not be charged.
I've never seen this before, but their theory is to hold him responsible, criminally responsible for the intentional crime that's committed by somebody else.
The attorney for 22-year-old Al Hassan Ayash admitting the gas station clerk used poor judgment, but should not be held responsible for 3 innocent customers being shot inside the gas station May 6th. Samuel McCrae is charged with shooting the 3 customers. One man, 37-year-old Gregory Kelly, was shot multiple times and was killed. But the clerk is also facing involuntary manslaughter charges for using an automatic lock to lock the store's door as he argued with the gunman. Video from inside the shop is terrifying. The 3 customers were trapped, the gunman making it clear that he would shoot everyone if the door was not unlocked. And that's exactly what the gunman did. Ayash's attorney says he locked the door to help police.
He calls the police and he locks the door so the thief can still be there when the police arrive.
This was all over Ayash thinking McCrae was going to walk off with an iced tea and a pack of donuts. And prosecutors say it was Ayash who escalated the entire situation.
And people were pulling, kicking, trying everything they could to get out of there, and they were stuck in there because of the defendant.
Ayash's attorney wanting a low bond for him, the judge saying no way.
It wasn't just the locking of the door. It was a participation in escalation of this situation and then locking the door while people were begging to be let out.
Now, this is Ayash's arraignment today. He's officially been charged. So much information, so much back and forth just in that arraignment alone. Bottom line, the magistrate's setting a $200,000 bond for the clerk, Kimberly and Devin. If he makes that bond, he'll be on house arrest on a tether. Back to you.
Sean, the clerk, Ayash, he was out on bond for another charge when the shooting happened, and it sounds like that played a part in giving him the bond that he got today.
The magistrate said that, talking about a threat to the public. He was out on bond currently for felonious assault and a felony gun crime related to a road rage incident. Goes to the judgment issue, the magistrate said, so she set that high bond.
Yeah. Okay, Sean, thanks.